Hello guys, it's Robobat1 here, and today I have got another deck profile for you. It's of one of my favourite archetypes ever released. I know not a lot of people play it right now in regionals, it hasn't topped anything, but the deck's still a really good deck. It's brilliant, I have to admit. There's all sorts of builds for it and I just love it. So the deck I am showing you today is my Elemental Heroes. Now this deck is the deck I use usually to, well, pwn, I guess. It's gotten me really far in the tournament, in my locals once. It got me all the way to 4th, I think. Well, not this build, another build, but that was a long time ago. But it's a similar build to that. It doesn't have all the same stuff, but yeah, it's still a really good build. But now this deck, I have to admit, is still good in my opinion. I want to see more people use it. I've actually met quite a few people recently who still use it. But heroes are my favourite archetype. They've what I've always used. I've loved them ever since they were released, and they've actually done me really good in my locals. So let me show you the deck profile. So for start, we have free alias. This is basically to get out shining, stuff like that. I run one Prisma, just so I can get stuff in the grave from its effect and copy. I run 2 Ocean because of it's basically a bounce back to hand and a target for 0. This guy is quite cool as well. He's a 15B, he can do a lot of damage, and he's a good target for 0 and all that, and he's good when you use Mask Change on him because of you can use him on for acid or vapor, so he's really good on that. I run 3 Bubble Man because a Bubble Man is a staple in this deck, so you can special summon him. Got no cards left in your hand, it doesn't really matter because of you field, you can special summon him, draw 2. He's a really good card for that, and I've always used him for that. And I use 1 Grand Mole to bounce back the big guys. No matter what, Grand Mole just bounces. He says basically piss off to anything. And I use 1 Morphing Jar because of this deck wastes the hand a lot, and you need something to draw. So you can you set him, draw, and when he's flipped, you draw so many. You draw 5 each of you, and you can discard your opponent's entire hand with him, which is really good. Okay, so that's the monsters. So I'm going to show you the spells now. For the searching, I have 1 Rotor and 3 emergency call for the searching, because of you do need to search in this deck, and it's not easy to find what you need usually. So, and for fusion cards, I use 3 Miracle Fusion to fuse for stuff like Shining, Acid, Shining 0, Gaia, all the goods. Basically, it's a good card in its own right because of it fuses any hero you want in the grave. So that's good. I also use 2 Super Poly. I use 2 Super Poly because of, I think, 3, it's a bit crowded for it, and you don't really want to be discarding your hand all the time. So it's a really good card to use, and you can steal your opponent's monster. They really don't like that, so I would suggest using it. And I used 3 Mask Change because of Mask Change is basically target the water, then special summon basically acid and vapor. It's a really good card, I have to admit. I just love it so much. It's helped me quite a lot in my duels, so yeah. For more draw power, I got 3 Pot of Duality. Yeah, 3. I know it stops the special summons, but when you're in a pinch and you don't need to special summon, this is a really good card, so I would always recommend 3 in this deck, unless Pot of Greed ever comes back. It probably won't though. For back row destruction, I have 2 Our Righteous Justice. Now I run this over MST for a good reason, because of MST, when you think about it, it only destroys 1, but with Our Righteous Justice it destroys as many heroes you have on the field. So if you have like 5 heroes on your field and your opponent has 5 back row, it just gets rid of it all. So I always recommend Our Righteous Justice over MST in hero decks. It's a really good card to use. And for your basic staple spells, I run 1 Dress to stop targets and destruction, 1 Dark Hole to destroy the field, and 1 Book of Moon to set any pesky monsters or your own. So that's the spells. So yeah, this deck, so that's what I use in my spell count. Now for the traps, I use 2 Mirror Force because of its limited, and it's just a basic card, really good, destroys the field, destroys your opponent's monsters in attack. It's an always plus in the deck, so you should always use it. I run 2 Deep Prism for pesky monsters that just like Stardust. You can use this to banish it easy. It's just so good for stuff like that. 2 Fiendish Chain. I run 2 over 3 because of it's just 3 is a bit crowded, and you really just want to stop some of the effects. You don't want to always stop them, so and with 3 Fiendish in here, it's alright. It's alright, but it's harder and more packed. So yeah, that's why I run 2. And for your basic staples, I run 1 Compulse to bounce the big guys like Grand Maul, 1 Bottomless for 15s and highs special summons, and a Torrential Tribute to nuke like Dark Hole. So those are the traps. Now I'll show you the extra deck. I run 2 Elemental Hero the Shining. 2 Elemental Hero the Shining I would always suggest, because of if you have 3, it's a little packed in your extra deck, and this guy is what you want to really use for Miracle to get back to your hand, and you only really need 2 in this deck, so it comes in handy, but you really only need 2. I run 3 Absolute Zero, so because of he's a good target for Mass Change, and he nukes the field. It's brilliant. He's just a brilliant card to use. I run 1 Elemental Hero Gaia because of I mainly only fuse for him in the graveyard or opponents, so I don't really go into him a lot, but he's a good card when I need him. I run 1 Elemental Hero Mariner. He's the target for Prisma, so I target him and get Bubble Man and put Bubble Man in the grave if I want a Miracle, so that's why he's in there. I run 1 Acid. Now I would usually run 2 Acid, but I only have 1 at this point, so yeah, I would suggest 2 Acid, but I only have 1. I've been looking for more for the deck profile, but I couldn't find any. But yeah, definitely run 2, I would suggest. And the reason I run him is because the back row is really heavy in this format, so he can just nuke it, and if you do the combo with him and Zero, it basically blows up all your opponent's field, and you can go for max damage. So yeah, that's why I run him. I run 2 Vapor because I don't have Acid, and he's just stop destruction. So yeah, now that's the fusions. So yeah, for the XCs, I run 2 Excalibur because if he's a 4K, you really want to deal damage in this deck, and you can do OTKs easy with him. So that's why I run him. I run 1 Gaga Cowboy for finishers, and 1 Blade Armor Ninja just to double attack and do a ton of damage. So that's the extra deck. Now I'll show you what I've got for the side deck right now. I run 2 Concentrated Lights for stuff like Dark Worlds, for stuff like Dark Worlds and Gravekeepers, Evil Swarms, all that. It's just a good card. It stops them from special summoning. It's all good. So I would always recommend it. 3 would be better, but I got 2. So I have 1 overworked because of it's good against Fire Kings, Brotherhood of the Fire Fists and all that, because they all boost their attack. Yeah. I have 3 Poisonous Winds. Now, Poisonous Winds is mainly for Harpies, because I've seen quite a few people use them, and this will just stop them from special summoning all their stuff. So that was a good card to use against them. I have 1 Prohibitation, because Prohibitation just stops anything you want your opponent to do. So just use Prohibitation for it. I have 1 Elemental Hero, Lady Heat. Now, I use Lady Heat in this deck, side deck, because it's just burn damage. It's really good, and it's in case I need her. I have 1 Parallel World Fusion. Parallel World Fusion is a good card as well, because it's just Fuse is banished. If my opponent uses something that always banishes, I can use this instead of Miracle. So that's why I have that. And for some fusions in my side deck, I have 1 Escuriado in case I face dark decks, 1 Great Tornado in case I face decks with wind, and 1 Nova Master in case I face decks that use a ton of fire elements. Just all targets for Super Poly, basically. So yeah, this is my deck. I hope you liked it, and try it out. It's a really good deck, trust me. Hope you liked the deck profile. Please subscribe, watch my videos, and have fun playing with this deck if you do build it. Thank you for watching, guys. This is RobertBat1, and I am signing out for another video later. Goodbye.